on, y'all? Welcome back to the chaos. I'm Ryan, and I've recruited Paul because we're on a little special ops mission today. We're actually headed to South Carolina to look at a car. And actually earlier this year, we kind of did the same thing with Paul. He got him his Bullet Mustang, and I was like, nope, I don't need any more cars. Well, the curse of the car guy, you know, it's a never-ending battle. Like, you get something and then you always want something else. So I have yet to actually tell Paul what we're going to look at. But he said he has some guesses. So I'm curious to see, because Paul and I have known each other since middle school.
Long time.
A long time. So yeah, he ought to know me pretty well, but I think I might have him stumped. So Paul, what are your guesses, or what do you think? How many did you narrow it down to, first off?
So I think I narrowed it down to 4 options.
4, okay.
And I started thinking about all the cars that we've talked about if we had like unlimited money.
Yep.
You know, what the dream would be to fill the garage up with.
Yep.
And so let's see. I'm going to go in order of probably least likely to most likely here.
Okay.
So first one I'm going to go with is the muscle car route. Barracuda.
Oh, still a dream car. Fortunately, that one's not in the cards, so wrong.
Okay. All right. Let's see. The next option I thought of was I'm going to get the code wrong, but basically mid-90s Civic.
Also, oddly enough, I don't know why, like, I'm a Honda guy at heart. I don't know why I like the little 4-bangers and just, you know, 4-banger laptop beating up on all the higher horsepower cars, but wrong.
Okay. All right. Then I started thinking, like, okay, let's look at the composition of the garage here. Maybe he's not looking to add something different, but to replace something.
You might be onto something there.
So then I started thinking, all right, what we got in that garage? What are we likely to keep? What are we likely to get rid of? Then I started thinking, well, I've heard him mention the 400Z, and that might be an option.
Again, he knows me very well, because these are all cars I would love to have in my dream garage. Unfortunately, dealer markup on those, I can't afford that at the moment. We're down to one more guess.
All right, and this is the one that I know he would be absolutely stoked to get, considering it would be kind of hard to find in the particular spec he wants.
Facts.
Hence the reason to go as far as we're going. Although not as far as I would have figured we would have had to. But I'm thinking we're going to be looking at a R32 GTR, probably in that blue color or Millennium Jade.
TH1 blue. Oh, so good. And again, one of those cars I would love to have. I've yet to be able to find one. And like you said, especially not this close. So South Carolina, we're on a 4-hour journey today. Completely out of left field, we are going to look at a C6 Corvette.
Oh my God. I did some online snooping last night, and I looked at dealerships open till 4, and I saw one that had 2 C6s. I'm like, is he going midlife crisis on me?
I am a little bit. I've hit that age.
White New Balances and jorts, like the full...
Yep, I don't know what it is. I'm tipping 40 over here, and something in the internal clock has just said, bing, Corvette time.
I completely dismissed that. I'm like, nah, he's not gonna do that.
Oh, here's my reasoning though. All right, so this, as much as I would love to add an additional car, one, I don't have the space, so I'm actually overflow. The Chaos Garage has overflowed completely. I've actually having to store one car at all times at my mom's house in her garage. So I'm trying to reel it back, trying to getting to be a little older. Things are getting, you know, a little trickier to manage and stuff. So the 2 cars on the chopping block are, and it pains me, this is my internal struggle, because I'm a very like nostalgia type person, and I've got memories built with all these cars. The Mustang and the Camaro, those are on the chopping block. But because, and hear me out, because there's certain things I love about both. So the Mustang, I feel like I can hop in, get in that car, drive, not have to worry about like reliability issues. It's a solid car. However, it isn't the most peppy car. So even with cams, I think I only dynoed to 80 at the wheels maybe. And that's with full bolt-ons, cam, and don't get me wrong, it's fun, it sounds rowdy, it's comfortable. That's my road trip car. That's again, I can just hop in it and do anything, not even cross my mind that something is gonna go wrong. The Camaro, that was my first, I'll say like big boy purchase. So I got my very first job, and that was kind of my affordable dream car. So that one, I always wanted one like in high school, and just I couldn't afford it. So come 2000, I've had that car since 2008.
Yeah.
And I've kind of feel like I've done everything with that car, because since it is an SS, they only made a certain amount of those. I don't want to go too extreme and start throwing too many mods at it, just because I like to keep it relatively pure. So I mean, the only thing I have done to that car is it's got full bolt-ons, long tubes, exhaust, that kind of thing, a bunch of suspension work. But I also worry every time I get in that car, if something happens, if somebody rear ends me, if I get an fender bender, that kind of thing, like it's gonna be so hard to replace any of those parts on that car. And one, it's just not, the LT1, that's my favorite sounding motor of all time. Like it infinitely, this might be a hot take, terrible take, whatever you want to say, but LT1 motor sounds way better than an LS.
I'd have to agree with you.
So the LS, especially at idle, even when the exhaust is up, it sounds like a boat.
Yes.
Like, I mean, there's certain exhausts that, you know, sound better or worse than others, but it reminds me of a boat.
Guy in the cul-de-sac, full open headers, everything. Sounds like a boat.
Yep. So, but I'm trying to, and the reason I landed on a Corvette, because I'm like, if I offloaded both of those cars, you know, I kind of weighed out like what I like about each and what I dislike about each. And that's why I landed on the C6. And in particular, so I've been doing a little bit of research, obviously, because I'm not just going to buy a car willy-nilly, but the particular one that we're going to look at, make some notes. So it's a 2009 C6, and it's the Z51 package. So that's kind of where I've learned is like the happy medium. So like it's a step down from the Z06.
Has the body flares?
It does not. So it's got like, you're kind of like base Corvette with, I'll go through this one in particular. I'm not sure how I feel about the color. It's the crystal red metallic tint coat, so it's like a kind of a toned down. Is that what that is? Well, close to it. It's probably. Yeah. So Paul's got a red F-150.
Yeah, ruby red metallic.
So yeah, it's probably similar in color. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. But the Z51 package actually includes stiffer shocks and springs, which again, I don't know that that matters because I'm likely going to throw coilovers on it. So that kind of goes out the window, but it does have larger sway bars. It's got cross drilled rotors. It has an engine oil cooler, power steering cooler, transmission cooler. So those are all like bonuses, because those are things that I probably wouldn't add, but maybe not, I don't know. But at least when they start out with that, that's great. And it has different gear ratios. So it's got, I don't know if this is the final gear, but it's 2.56 gear ratio is what it says. So I don't know, but it's got the LS3. So LS3 ran from 2008 to 2013. And so it's got like the kind of beefier motor, and they're not without fault.
Right.
So, but I mean, there's a reason that people are using these LS motors in
they build
everything.
Power easy.
Build power easy, and they're reliable. Like that's the thing, is that was a key piece to this, is I want a car that I can just, again, hop in, and nothing's ever perfect, but you want to minimize those potentials. Like I want to be able to hop in it, go to the mountains, and not think twice about like, ugh, am I gonna make it? Am I not gonna make it? So it's got the TR6060. So that was the second year that they threw that transmission in there. So everything is pretty solid on those. Like I said, they're not without fault though. So some of the things that we need to look out for today, common issues with the LS3s, they are prone to oil leaks. So like the oil pan, the valve cover gaskets, the oil cooler gasket, and then the water pumps, apparently, like they're hit or miss. I don't know why, but you see some people, they'll last for 2,000 miles or they'll last for 200,000 miles. I don't know, but that's something just to keep in mind that I might have to worry about pretty quickly. The car only has 8,000 miles.
Oh.
Which is why we're making the trek, because again, it's kind of your standard C6 base model, but again, the Z51 package is kind of like that, the happy medium. So, but again, I didn't want to run into the issue of, even though there's a whole lot more Z06s and everything like that, I just don't want to run into an issue where I feel bad modding it because it's a special, something special. So, which is kind of that was the whole reason I never got a Cobra to begin with, because I didn't want to ruin the original Cobra-ness.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we are. But like I said, yeah, 2009, 8,000 miles, and the crystal red metallic is, and it's a 6-speed, obviously, not touching automatics. So it kind of checks the box. So we're gonna go ahead and hit the road. But actually, before we do, yeah, what are your thoughts? What do you think?
So yeah, I kind of thought like, okay, maybe, but no.
Yeah.
No, because he's already got the muscle cars, and I thought if you're going to get rid of one, you were only going to get rid of the Camaro. I didn't think you could get rid of the Mustang too.
I think in order to pull this off, because full transparency, so they want 33 for it. So in order to kind of pull this off, I would pretty much need to offload both cars to make this happen. And again, yeah, my logic is like, okay, if I get rid of 2, that's 2 less cars to maintain. That's 2 less cars I'm paying insurance on. That's 2 less cars I'm paying taxes on, and just really the space, to be honest. So yeah, it's kind of a 2-for-1 trade. So,
and really, it's such a, you know, it's like a Mustang. You can do any number of things to these cars. You can go full NA and make crazy power. You can go Pro Charged, make crazy power. You know, visually, there's a lot of stuff you can do.
Yep.
Exhaust options are plenty, so you could, you know, get away with not making it sound like a speedboat. So yeah, I mean, it's, you know, considering what you'll likely do with it, it'd be interesting to see the final product after you're modding it. So,
because of course I don't want to go too crazy, just because I do want to maintain that reliability factor. But I think, and don't quote me on this because I don't know numbers off the top of my head, but I want to say the LS3 stock is about 430 horsepower, so
somewhere around there, yeah.
Probably high 300s, you know, to the wheel. I think that's plenty for me, honestly. I mean, like, the only thing I can see me doing, 100% full exhaust, that's gonna be a must, but maybe a cam at some point. And that'd probably be as far as I take it, because again, I want it to be streetable, but just fun. Fun is the name of the game. That's what I'm after. So I feel like I said, I'm gonna miss both, don't get me wrong, because I'm like really attached to both of those cars, the Mustang and the Camaro. But I think this is gonna be like a good middle ground to that happy medium to make me happy for not, you know, those 2 cars gone, Corvette in its place.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm running with the Mustang, you know. I would love to keep both, but I got, you know, I had the other one since brand new, since 2008. That
sentimental factor is real.
But, you know, with what I've replaced it with, there's going to be tons of miles per miles.
Yep.
So,
yep. So yeah, Paul's kind of the inspiration, because yeah, once he got that car and told me he's playing for it or whatever, like, then I kind of, you know, was looking at my garage, and I'm just like I said, I'm not getting any younger, and I'm almost tapped out. Like, that's the kind of thing I'm excited about, like the clean slate again, because again, this thing is 100%, 99% stock. It has, I think, an aftermarket radio is the only thing additional added to it. So, but yeah, everything else I think mechanic wise, visual, all stock. So that's a plus for me. That's a clean slate. That's half the beauty of owning a car, is coming up with, all right, what direction do I want to take it? How do I want it to look and sound and everything like that? So I'm excited. But enough talk. Let's hit the road, Paul.
Yep, let's do it.
Paul and I are just rolling up to the dealership, so I'm gonna jump out here and hopefully be able to like kind of at least give the exterior of the car a once over real good before we get bombarded with salesmen. But I'll do as much filming as we can, but again, walking around a public car lot, we'll see how it goes. But definitely we'll at least get you a few shots, but we'll see how much we can do. But wish us luck. Well, Paul, we came, we saw, I don't know that I can say we conquered, so just general thoughts or whatever. So we actually got good, decent amount of time with the car without being aggravated by salesmen. So that was a huge plus right off the bat.
Yep.
Kind of looked over, you know, anytime you want to buy a car, you kind of want to look everything over. So we kind of went over the exterior with a fine-tooth comb, found a few blemishes, nothing too alarming. Like the biggest hang up for me was, and it probably wouldn't bother most people, but like underneath, like the little air dam, it's probably the best way to describe that.
Yeah.
That like under panel plastic piece, but like it looked like whoever owned the car previously had hit a few parking blocks, that kind of thing. So it was showing some wear and tear.
Yeah.
But easy enough that's a plastic panel that can be fixed, replaced, not a big deal. Exterior wise, that was really it. It looks like potentially on the rear bumper where it had like the Corvette embossed, it looks like potentially maybe there was a emblem of some sort at one time and they like pulled it off, so there was like residue left. But again, that looked like it could come out pretty easily.
Right. So
we both kind of agreed upon, like, it was probably like a solid 8 out of 10.
I'd say so, yeah.
So I mean, for a 15-year-old car, it had its little, you know, little blemishes, but nothing wild. Even like the trim and everything like that, like you could tell it had some age on it, but nothing too alarming. So got the guy and got to check out the interior and everything. It is definitely very much GM plastics. Like everything in there is just like that. Quality was not not a thing for GM for a long time. I don't know if that's still the case, but in that car is a 2009. It very much reminded me of my Camaro from '96. Things hadn't changed very much. The car would not start. So that's where things kind of started going south a little bit, because the battery had a date on it of July of this year. So that's what, 4-5 months? Oh, is that it? Yeah, 3 months old. So that's surprising that it wouldn't even fire. But I mean, like, I couldn't get the accessories to turn on, nothing. So that battery was smoked, which then leads me to wonder, is the alternator also bad and also needs replacing? Because we took it for about a 20-minute test drive and came back, immediately turned the car off. And fun fact, weird fact, if everything on that car is electronic. So I was stuck in the car. Genuinely could not get out because the door handles, like, they're not regular pull, like, hinges and stuff. They're electronic. So that was, yeah, just a fiasco. With the battery being smoked, you're kind of SOL, and I don't know how I feel about that, but that's just a Corvette thing, I assume. So that's not a quirk specific to this car. It did have maybe like a low jack system on it, some kind of like aftermarket security, because again, I kind of knew going in about the aftermarket radio and the aftermarket rear backup camera. Those two things, thankfully, like the backup camera wasn't like, there were no holes drilled in the body. It looked like they used factory mounting locations to mount the camera, so I was pleased with that. So that way, if I did decide, you know, that stereo head unit and camera, if I want to pull those off the car, that should be relatively easy. The security system or whatever, that's where things getting a little funky, because that could potentially lead to our parasitic draw on why the battery was smoked. And again, I would keep the car on a tender, but that's just not something I want to have to deal with. Right. And I would ultimately want that low jack or whatever removed. And then Paul actually noticed there's on the windshield, and we kind of were looking it up online and came across like a Reddit article. It looks like I'll let you describe it. You did the research on that one, but it's weird.
Yeah, so when you buy a car from a dealership, like a small one, and they do kind of like the subprime lending thing, they put like the GPS tracking boxes in there. So if you don't make your payments, they'll find you pretty easily. So that's what it looked like, was kind of stuck to the top of the windshield.
Yeah, so I don't know how easily that is removed. I mean, like, it didn't seem, because it was just a wire dangling, it wasn't plugged in anything, because at first I thought maybe it had something to do with that security system, but because you could tell it had like the aftermarket like Bluetooth little speaker to pick up, you know, so that way you could go hands-free with your making phone calls and all. So I thought it had something to do with that.
or potentially maybe even like a hardwired radar detector. But no, it's a weird GPS tracker. So definitely want that off. Definitely want the security system off. And then, like I said, before the exterior was like an 8 out of 10. Well, then the sales guy trying to jump the car. Why in the world? Like, some people, and I hope this is none of you all, like if you're dealing with customers or whatever, you should always take pride in your work and really just be gentle. You know, like this could be somebody's new car, you're trying to sell it. He set the jump box on the front quarter panel. So after we got done jumping it and looking at it, it's all scratched up now. So I mean, like that, it took it from an 8 out of 10 originally. It knocked the whole point off. I mean, that's how badly scratched up it was after him flailing and knocking that jump box on the paint.
It's through the paint in a couple of spots. So
that's one issue that shouldn't have been an issue and wasn't an issue until he did that. So I got to drive it. Only thing that was weird to me is, again, this is the only C6 or Corvette in general that I've ever driven, so the clutch was basically like a light switch. I mean, it was either engaged or not engaged. There wasn't really much leeway in between. And I feel like most cars I've ever driven, they got some wiggle room, you know, before they actually grab. Kind of let off, let off, let off. You got that grab point, but this one was basically like foot on the floor or foot not on the floor, and then it's going. So I didn't really get into the gas too much. Again, it's not my car and don't want to scare the salesman on the test drive, but you could tell it wanted to go. So it reminded me of the Viper in the fact that, like, you could feel it had the power and wanted to be pushed along. It had that giddy up and go to it. Mm-hmm. Had the Camaro quality interior squeaks, rattles, just general Chevy for you, like just their quality of trim work. But even the interior, I would say that was probably like an 8 out of 10. There was some fading to some of the plastics and everything, but the big things, the motor sounded solid, felt solid, drivetrain felt solid. Clutch, again, was a little weird to me, but that might just be a Corvette thing, and I'm sure I'll get used to it. I didn't stall, thankfully. I was kind of nervous about that, but overall, I would have originally gave the whole car an 8 out of 10. Now I'm kind of more low 7 for sure, maybe just solid 7. Just due to the paint issue that he created, the weird security settings that it has, because again, I would want all that taken off just because I don't know. So, but then the potential gremlins that come along with wiring, that is my biggest fear at this point. So I don't know what's going to end up happening, but it's a nice car. I don't know if it's the car for me, so we shall see. Paul, what's your kind of thoughts on it, and what do you think about the car? Because he didn't unfortunately get to ride in it, but
yeah,
got to view it over and help me look it down and double check it.
I mean, we're talking like an over 15-year-old car. It is low miles, but overall it was in pretty good condition. I mean, there were obviously, I think, a few points that to me, I wouldn't pay what they're asking for it at a no-haggle dealership.
Because yeah, they want 33, so.
And, you know, I immediately would have knocked them for the tires being
Oh yeah, I don't even think I mentioned that. That's right, yeah. Checking the tire codes. The oldest was what?
2011.
Yeah, and those were both the fronts. Or no, the fronts were two different
11
dates.
and a 12.
11 and a 12, which is weird, and then the backs were 16s.
Yep.
But no matter what, old.
Yes, I mean, like, overall, you know, there were no leaks when it was cold. No leaks after it was running hot. On cold start, no smoke. So, I mean, it's a very solid car. There's no taking that away from it. We've obviously, you know, I would be concerned with the charging system and, you know, having that properly diagnosed. We talked about taking up to the Chevy dealership that was within, you know, a very reasonable distance to have them just kind of do a run through on it, but yeah, there's a decision to be made.
Definitely. So, but now this is probably where we're gonna end this video, because I really don't see me, you know, picking this car up, but I just kind of want to take you all along. Surprise, now you know. Full transparency, I'm looking to offload 2 cars, so if one of you are interested in a 96 Camaro or a 2000 Mustang, hit me up. I got 2 for sale at the moment, but yeah, that's kind of the plan. Is I think I'm gonna offload 2, clear out some of the clutter in the chaos garage, make some space for C6. So that's what's on my radar. That's what's to come. So, but I just want to keep y'all up to date and informed on what's going on and my train of thought and everything. But I really appreciate everybody watching. If you have any questions, comments, advice for me, if you see a car out there, I'm looking a 2009, 2010 C6. If you got one, hit me up. I want to purchase. I'm ready to go. But thanks again for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.